Today I'm going to show you guys what the controls are for Terraria, and I'm going to show you the most important control from the beginning. But I just want to show you that when you start a new character, you're going to have a short sword, a pickaxe, and a copper axe. And to cycle between those three, you use the middle mouse scroll wheel, or you can press 1, 2, and 3 to cycle between them. Let me show you the most important button in Terraria before I go into the other controls. The control button. If you press control, this yellow box appears. That is your toggle cursor. Now you want to toggle back and forth between the toggle cursor on and toggle cursor off, because sometimes it can actually get in the way if you don't want to use it. But if I want to chop down this tree and I don't have the cursor on, I can only hit the tree if I have the cursor on it. But if I have the control cursor on, the toggle cursor, I can hit the tree no matter where my arrow is. So this is also very useful when you want to mine, because if you want to mine, for example, down here, and you have the cursor on, the toggle cursor, then you can, as you can see, mine 2 blocks without having to move your cursor into the right direction. However, if you turn the control off, you can only mine the block that you're pointing to, which means you're going to have to do this, and 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 this. And it's very tedious. So control cursor is very important for mining and for chopping down trees, but make sure you turn it off if there's ever a point where it's getting in your way. Just press control once to turn it off and once to turn it on. Easy as that. To get out of holes, I'd recommend putting dirt block into your inventory and jumping and placing the dirt block underneath your feet so that you can jump up. If there's a wall behind, the dirt block becomes a normal block, even if it's not connected to the other dirt blocks. Very easy. For controller support, I will show you the controller key bindings in a moment, but you just need to pretty much go into the settings, into your controls, and go to key bindings for your gameplay controls with the controller to pretty much do everything that I'm doing with the keyboard and mouse, but on console. Pretty much A to move left, D to move right, and if you are trying to move up and down platforms, you can use S to go from one platform to another. And I actually do have some wood, so we're going to make a wooden platform, and I'm just going to show you that real quick. If I press D, I drop down. Spacebar to jump, and you can jump up above platforms. There is way too much for me to show you everything here, so I'm just going to show you the stuff that I find important in my playthroughs. And obviously, one of the most important things is to get into your inventory. Now, if you find yourself dying while you're looking in your inventory because there's so much information here, I'd recommend turning on auto pause. Go to settings and turn auto pause on. What happens there is whenever you are in your inventory, whenever you have your inventory open, the game pauses so you have unlimited time to look around, and it actually saves you from getting to nighttime too early. So the slimes are moving, and the slimes are able to hit me while I have the inventory open. I turn on auto pause, and when the slimes jump towards me, they freeze mid-air. Now, you can't do a lot of things with your inventory without unpausing the game first. So if, for example, if I had an acorn down here and I wanted to use the acorn in my world, I can't do that unless the world is unpaused first, and then I can use it. So there's crafting down here. I have some wood, and I have my little crafting area down here. Left click on the workbench and put that into your inventory. You just left click and then left click, and then you hover over the workbench and you left click on the ground to put it down. Now you could use the workbench just by hovering over the workbench. For example, this sign and this wooden fence are makeable because of this workbench. One little tip I'll give you is to make the wooden sword straight away in your games. Get rid of the short sword, and I'll show you why in a moment. But if I move away from the bench, I can no longer make those items. And you can always make torches if you have the ingredients. Of course, you can always make wood platforms if you have the ingredients. The reason why I like to use this sword is because it's an overhand swing weapon, whereas the short sword is literally just a poke sword. It's very easy to miss your enemies, as you can literally just see there, but it's very hard to miss if you have a swing weapon. So always make the wooden sword first. But we're going to focus mostly on controls for now. So for building, you literally just get your wood out, place it on the ground, and build up. Now, if you are trying to build a house, just literally do what I'm doing, but build a house for yourself to live in. And I would recommend building it off the ground. In classic playthrough, you don't really have to do that. You can make it on the ground and it looks nicer. But I recommend maybe a couple of blocks off the ground, where then you can start doing this. Space to jump, left click to place, and then I can't believe I'm dying to a slime. What the hell's going on? I'm supposed to be an expert at this game. Anyway, maybe up to about here, and then build your house here. And so that you can move back and forth, take down the walls that you just placed using your pickaxe. You can use the control toggle to make it easier to take away blocks. And another thing that I recommend that you do as a new player when you are making a base, and here that's probably one of the most important things to learn, but also one of the things that most people don't realize until it's too late, is the blocks that you place for a house are going to be your, well, house, and you can make a door, for example. But enemies can still spawn in here. If it was bigger, I suppose. It depends on where you are on the screen, but enemies can still spawn in here unless it has a wall in the background. So there's two types of walls. There's block walls, and then there's background walls. So you can use the background walls like this, or you could do what I do, press the control toggle and go like this. Here's a very good example of where control toggle can be a nuisance and you have to turn it off. If I open that door, he's going to start building wall out here. It's going to happen without you wanting it to happen. I'm kind of forcing it a little bit here, and it gets very annoying. So you want to turn off toggle the wall, or the control toggle, when you're building the background walls if the door is open or if there's no door at all. But if the door is closed, it's fine. It'll stay within inside. So I think that's pretty much everything I can show you from that perspective. I highly recommend using the guide in your playthroughs for crafting recipes. So if you ever want to know what you can craft using your items, just put the item into the guide, click the crafting window, and you'll see everything he can craft for you with wood. For example, you need wood for a golden hammer. And don't be afraid to experiment. There's plenty of resources in the game, so make everything you can and see what you like, see what items you like, for example. Here are some of my key bindings, because this is going to be very important. Let's make sure autopause is on as we described before. So everything around here, you're left clicking pretty much, but there are some controls that you might want to either just use yourself or change according to what I have. My mouse has two side buttons, just to be clear. So one of them is the quick mount, which is R, and that'll allow you to get onto your mount and you can toggle that off and on. Quick mana I have to E, which I don't use that much, but it's going to be important if you want to use mana potions. And we have the grapple, which is on mouse 4. I don't know what the default is for grapple, but put that on your mouse or put that onto a button that you are happy with. And once you have a grapple hook, you can grapple across very easily. Smart cursor is left control, as I mentioned already. Quick heal, I also have that on my mouse button. And the quick heal is going to allow you to use healing pots while you are in the middle of a fight. And then you have the quick buff, which I have on L, but that's not the keyboard L, that's a mouse L. Buff is very important, but as a new player, you don't have to worry about that straight away. and you can find a button that you're comfortable with as you go. I also have inventory on J instead of escape. I think you're going to be using escape normally. I have it on my mouse just because I like to have auto pause quickly. And I'd recommend going through your key bindings just to see what you can find in here. Actually, if I go to controller, smart cursor is on R. So yes, you would have to push the right stick to turn on smart cursor. Okay, interesting. And obviously use the sticks for up, left, and you can check the key bindings to just to see how a controller works with the game. Another tip I would recommend that you do is change your cursor. It's very important to change that cursor, in my opinion. And this is the settings I have for my cursor. I have it set to actually, well, red is the easiest to see with all of the different varying backgrounds of the game, but you could make it purple, actually. I think I might keep it at purple, to be honest. Maybe a dark purple. No, in dark areas, I won't be able to see it anymore. So let's go for just a lighter purple. So I'm actually going to change my cursor color just for you guys. But the most important thing is the border color. You want to give it a border because I don't even know if I can get rid of this border easily. But when your cursor doesn't have a border, you can barely see it. Look at that. It looks tiny. But you want to give it a white border in order to make it stand out in the background. So always make sure you add a border to your cursor. And that's pretty much it. So there's no way I was going to be able to cover everything in this, but please make sure to let me know if you have any questions, and I will try and answer them in the comments for controls. Thank you very much for one last time for watching, and I'll see you again in the next video. Ta-ta!